It's hard to believe that 2 years ago I had a dream. It's hard to believe that it was 2 years ago that I had this dream. You see, I'd been challenged by my coach to go live in a city that I loved. And that was at that time one of the biggest decisions that I was making in my life because I thought that where I was just fine. I mean, I was used to the daily grind, I had a great job. But what I didn't realize was there was so much more that was missing and so much more that I needed to have in my life, so much more that I wanted to have in my life that I didn't even realize it. And so while I was in the process of deciding on this big move that I was going to make for 30 days to go live in another city that I loved in the United States, I was also beginning to coach women pharmacists on building their brand and also telling their story and basically coming out from under the brilliant insecurity that most of us were trained and lived in, and making a decision to do something different with our careers and our lives. And so here I was in the process of moving to Portland, Oregon for 30 days, all that I could pack in two suitcases, and my little dog on a plane headed to Portland is what was in front of me. And while that was the biggest thing in front of me, I had this desire to show the world what the women I was coaching were learning to do and that they were learning to tell their stories. And so I figured that the best way to do that was to have a magazine. So I called a colleague of mine and said, "Hey, I need help. Can you tell me who can help me publish a magazine?" She got me connected to my magazine designer, and it's all been history. These past 2 years, they're all history now because all I wanted was to build a platform where women in pharmacy could share their stories. And of course, there have been things that have come close since then. There have been podcasts, there have been other publications, but I wanted to build a publication where women in pharmacy didn't feel that they had to parade their credentials or they had to make themselves important by all the list of accomplishments that they had achieved, but that they could really just be themselves and be celebrated for being themselves and be celebrated for what they were creating in their lives, be celebrated for the dreams that they were dreaming. And I hoped that them celebrating their stories, that us celebrating our stories, was going to lead to many other women to see that and say, wow, I can do it too. And so I set out with this dream of creating Pharmacist Magazine. And once it was created, I approached the women that I was coaching, and then I approached three other friends in addition to the women that I was currently coaching at the time. And I asked them, would they take a gamble on me? Would they take a chance and allow me to feature them in this magazine? Because I just had a feeling that it was going to be something good. And they all said yes. I was so amazed and I was so honored that they all said yes. And they decided to take a chance and allow me to feature them in the first issue that was published October of 2019. And I remember asking dear Leslie, would she be the featured cover pharmacist for the second cover of the magazine? And I didn't know that anyone would read it. I didn't know that anyone would want to be in the next issue. I had no clue. But what I knew was that I had an idea, and I knew that I had to try it because you see, many of us, we have ideas that never see the light of day because we're scared of what people will think. I mean, you have to know I was scared to wonder what would people think seeing my face on the cover of my magazine. And I still wonder how that's going to be received. But when I look back over these past 2 years and I think about the platform that I've built for women in pharmacy, and even more specifically, because I am a woman of color, for women of color in pharmacy, as well as women in pharmacy in general, technicians, pharmacists, students, residents, to have a place to share their story, to market themselves and their brand, and also to inspire other women to do the same. I could have never imagined it, but I'm so grateful that I endeavor to build that dream and to include as many people as possible in that dream, because today I say that I have the best position because I get to interview and meet so many amazing women and that I'm inspired by them. And it leads me to two things that I say often. Number one, you would be amazed at what a woman in pharmacy can create. And two, don't tell me what's not possible.